Why, hello there, fellow weavers. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival, Episode 37, Weaving Traps for Chickens. We are going to vote for the priority, and that's not where that should be. There it is. And this will determine what I'm going to work on now. Now, for agriculture, we could expand the farm even more. I still have more seeds. We could start working on orchards, too. That's not necessarily a bad idea. It's kind of more of a long-term investment, but I'd do it all the same. As far as hunting goes, I think we could make a bow and arrows. So that wouldn't be unreasonable. And then the other thing is we are always in need of like more leather. So hunting and leather kind of goes part and parcel, hand in hand. Focusing on tools, weapons, and armor. So I had mentioned this prior, but I don't really, other than maybe like a iron pick, I don't really intend to get into the Iron Age until I have a health hammer, because working blooms by hand is kind of miserable. I mean, it's not horrible, but it like takes a long time. So yeah, if we focus on building, we could increase lighting around these facilities. Oil lamps would probably be the easiest, but I wouldn't be necessarily against making like brass torch holders or whatever. We had embarked on that in the past, but then of course making the bismuth lined lantern that we hold took precedent over it. As far as animal husbandry, we could start working on a chicken coop, and then leatherworking, of course. So you guys will vote while I do some housekeeping. So, looking at our farm, a lot of the farm here is like nearing its readiness for the next wave of harvest. And we really ought not to miss that because, oh, that's not possible. I'm sorry. Rice is not stunted due to heat. It did not get higher than 46 Celsius here. That's just got to be some sort of bug. That's absurd. Well, yeah, just checking up on everything that we got going on. It looks like all of the skeps now are honeyed. That's good. And the idea was to maybe have 9 skeps total. Before we start harvesting. Just because you can't, you should only really harvest roughly half and then let them refresh. But time will tell on that. Whether we do that or not. And it seems to me like animal husbandry is the leading choice. And we can consider, some like chicken coop building. Actually, with that in mind, trapping them first is more reasonable because the time it takes to typically fill a trap is non-zero. And then, oh, come on. Stay. And I'm just checking up on like all the other things we got going on. So we got leather in about a day. I think the salt barrels still need some time. They weren't that close to completion, but I'll check on them all the same. Yeah, okay. That needs some more time. 3.5 more days. We don't have a lot of cooked food, I don't think. We had just made some like bread and meat pies, but it's not like a high volume amount. So that's another, I wouldn't say we're low on food, but we're not the high on food or whatever the opposite is. So we've got, we got some breads and we could make offal, but it really hadn't been voted on. So we have some like vegetables and grains and a little bit of meat, and they're keeping for now, but I'm probably going to want to do something with it before too long, I'd imagine. Yeah, but that all looks good. Alright. So if we're going to talk about animal husbandry, because that seems to be the popular choice, Let's go ahead and cover what that would look like. So for now, the reason why I'm not considering sheep or goats or whatever is the way you tame those guys is essentially you like fight them and then you lure them away to where you want them trapped. And I don't have the armor for that, so they would just kill me. So it's kind of not worth it to me. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on chickens. And sheep, goats, chickens, pigs, chickens, and hares can be turned into livestock. Sheep and goats would be for like wool and milk, and pigs for leather and meat, and chickens for eggs and feathers, I guess. Hares would be like pigs, but like less productive, I suppose. Or pigs, but for bushmeat instead of red meat. And what you can do is you can enclose them in a fenced-in area, chase them to your desired location, or catch them with a basket trap or crate if possible. So a basket trap is pretty straightforward. You just take a papyrus chest and stick a stick on it to create a basket trap, and then you can trap them. And once you have an animal in there, you can move them around and put them where you want. A small trough can be used to lure chickens, hares, and other small animals, and a large trough for larger animals. So in this case, we would be doing chickens for a small trough. So you just 3 planks equal a small trough, and you can use that as a lure as well. So the primitive survival mod also introduces some other interesting mechanics, like, and I'll talk about this in a minute, and then rearing livestock. So feeding animals produces offspring and prevents them from losing weight during winter. I don't really have winter, so that's really not an issue. But normally in Vintage Story, you start off at 47 North, which has real winters, has 4 seasons. And at 47 North, in the winter, animals don't have a lot of food available to them, which means hunting in Vintage Story in the winter is not very productive. So one of the reasons to do animal husbandry is to make sure that you can fulfill your like meat needs in the winter, if you haven't like salted food or smoked food or whatever. Poultry requires a hen box in which they can lay eggs and incubate their eggs. And if there are not enough hen boxes, the hens will then lay the eggs on the ground, which will not hatch, but can still be eaten. Animals bred this way over several generations lose their fear and aggressiveness towards the player. Once they reach the 3rd generation, you can also kill them instantly with a cleaver, because they no longer fear you. So we're going to start off by, and we've already done the beekeeping. So we're going to start off, I actually think the first thing I'm going to do is add in 4 more skeps and trap chickens. So the additional skeps will allow us to actually start harvesting the, you know, the honey more regularly. And in order to make skeps, we're going to need a whole lot of papyrus, because we need to put some empty papyrus skeps there, which is fine. Alright, let's get that started. It's a little, oh, I should grab my lantern. It's a little annoying to do as a result of it being nighttime, but you know, I don't feel the need to advance time, so we'll just wing it, deal with it. And the good news is, last stream we did make like a whole bunch of metal tools. So we do have proper tin bronze knives, shears, etc. I can even put the shears on the bar, because one of the advantages of the shears is, boom, like an entire bush goes kapow. Which is a really good way to get saplings and vines and sticks and stuff like that. Now I do have a mod that allows me to turn like firewood into sticks, so sticks is not as much of a grind as it can be in Vintage Story, because in regular Vintage Story, unless you're on like forest floor biome, sticks can be like legitimately annoying. What about the blood sausages? I work on what is pulled, so if it ain't pulled, if it ain't voted on, I don't work on it. And that would have been like hunting or agriculture. And that's an important reminder. I work on what's above my head that you guys decide as a collective through polling. So if you have any good ideas, you're welcome to share them, but I'm not going to change what my focus is against what everyone else has voted for. So if you have an idea, you know, the polling takes priority. And the only time polling is ever ruled is if there's some sort of urgency. Like if I'm about to starve, yeah, okay, I'm going to stop working on trapping chickens if I'm like actively starving. Something like that. The basic hierarchy of needs takes priority. But apart from that, it's pulled. So, let's do the math. We want 16 papyrus per skep. And that's a lot of papyrus if we want 4 of them. That's 64 papyrus. One of the things we could consider, I'm moving away from the lakes region, let's go east, is to relocate the papyrus roots closer to sort of have like a standing papyrus farm, because it seems like I'm regularly needing papyrus for a lot of things. And it wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea to have like a farm for it, or a row in a lake or something akin. But that would be agriculture. I'm not doing that right now. So we have enough for 1 skep. I've got plenty of clay back home, so the clay isn't much of a concern. We'll just keep getting papyrus until I have enough for 4 skeps. And the reason for this, of course, is fruit is going to be a relatively difficult nutrition for me to fulfill, despite the fact that I'm in the tropics, because the berry bushes that exist in Vintage Story aren't tropic berries, which means that if I find new berry bushes, they might have some fruit on them, but it's the wrong temperature, and maybe the temperature will be closer to correct when winter rolls around, because right now it's August. But I'm about 14 degrees north. That's my latitude, which puts me at like Thailand or Guatemala or something like that. I was calculating this on my own free time off stream, which means, like, you know, if you know anything about like Thailand or Guatemala or the Philippines, like, they don't really have winters. And it's quite possible that I don't really have a winter here, meaning that berries will never really produce fruit. And if that is indeed the case, that means that fruit trees would be the better source of fruit. Oh, hey, boar. So we might be looking at setting up orchards. The problem with orchards, of course, is fruit trees in Vintage Story do not grow fast. They grow... What's funny is, like, regular trees grow quite fast, as far as, like, you know, real life is concerned, because you can plant, like, a sapling and then have, like, a full tree in, like, a month. But fruit trees in Vintage Story grow hella slow, which means if we are to go that route, it might be a while. I'm going to ignore the cattails. I know that you can make skeps out of cattails, but I'm just going to focus on papyrus and papyrus only. It's easier not to mix and match, I think, even though there's a lot of cattails around. And I'm probably heading into, like, cattail territory. Yeah, okay, it's all cattails here. Let's go north. You vote for a bamboo excursion? Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't found any. It's pretty crazy. I would have liked the aesthetic of, like, a bamboo village. And when I was playtesting for this run, I built a lot with bamboo, because in my playtest world, which was a different seed than this, obviously, I took this seed blind. In my playtest world, I had a lot of bamboo everywhere. You don't bother me, I don't bother you. And bamboo is a really nice material because it's like, you can make bamboo hats for shade, for heat and comfort. You can build with it pretty cheaply. You can cut it down really easily. It was kind of everywhere. So it was an easy material to source a lot of. And then in this in this real world, not the test world, there was like no bamboo anywhere. It's like, oh, okay. What about no winter planting fruit trees? So some trees vernalize, some trees don't. I think the tropic fruit trees don't require the same vernalization. Basically, as long as it stays warm and doesn't get cold, it should be fine. Or at least that's my understanding. So what we can do is we can try it. The TLDR is in Vintage Story. I really haven't done a lot of fruit tree stuff because it's such a... Oh, hey, chickens. Actually, I already have those marked down. So, good. We know we're going to trap them, where we're going to trap them. And speaking of papyrus, I'm probably going to need even more papyrus than I currently have for the chicken traps, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I really haven't messed with fruit trees because it's one of those, like, super long-term investments. And because I only know if I'm playing Vintage Story from a week-to-week basis, planning for, like, super long-term projects... Oh, shoot. I'm glad I avoided that. Can be a waste of time. Because I don't even know if I'm playing next week, so why sow the seeds of something that will yield fruit in, like, a month or two? Not that I was the one that decided that, mind you. With that said, the same could be probably said of setting up chicken breeding, because it's not like chickens age up quickly. So I could definitely understand the argument of, like, why bother? Just hunt and forage. You're not here long enough, and yeah, like, you're not wrong. So how's my nutrition now? Grain is still not maxed out, so we'll just keep doing grain stuff. I should probably never top up the entire stack of food with a... Like, you can't have, like, partial bread, whereas you can have, like, a partial serving in a bowl. So that's the one downside to bread, is it's easy to waste it because you don't have room in your stomach for it. And I'm pretty sure these hives that I'm setting down now are going to have, like, plenty of flowers around. And what originally what I was saying is I could expand the sort of apiary area beyond these initial... What? There's nothing... Okay, whatever. Beyond the initial... you know, 9x9 or whatever this is, 11x11 that I have set up. I don't think that we're gonna need quite that. Come on, there's not another block there. Jeez, game's getting real finicky with me. All right, so there's our 9 skeps. And I'm just going to take the rest of these golden poppies and plant them around the perimeter. Because these flowers here are still easily close enough to the skeps over here to provide a benefit. And the amount of nearby flowers that I have in these skeps already, like 79 is a ridiculous number. Like, I think you need like 36 for max. So 79 is like well beyond max. I forget exactly what the max is, but needless to say, I'm like exceeding it by a lot, so I'm not too worried about that. Alright, so the next project now is going to be setting up the traps, and then after we set up the traps, it will be setting up the coop. So set up chicken traps. So I want to take a moment to talk about some of the things that primitive survival introduces. Not to say that I'm necessarily going to use it in the mechanics of getting the chickens. So one of the things that primitive survival adds in a lot is deadfall traps and spike traps and pit traps and all sorts of like interesting traps. And what it is, you dig out like a hole in the ground, and then you can line it with like beds of nails or spikes So, a bed of nails would be like this. An animal steps on it and dies. And you can camouflage your trap to make it blend in so that animals can't tell that it is, you know, a pit trap of sorts. So there's a lot of different, like, trap mechanics. I wish there was, like, I wish Primitive Survival had, like, screenshots that I could easily show you through streaming, but I don't really have that. I don't think. I mean, I can show you the deadfalls, and there's snares here. But the snares and deadfalls are all to kill animals. And then... So these are things that we could, like, do if we wanted to trap that bear that was out there. Unless I just, like, grab a bow and do it that way. So in this case, what we're going to do is the traditional, just, basket trap. The papyrus basket traps. So, a papyrus chest. I already have a papyrus chest here, but this is my rot chest. I think I have other chests. Oh, these are baskets. I have one other chest. So let's get like 4 chests going for this. And then we will bait it with flax and start trapping chickens. So when you thought that I needed a lot of papyrus, now I need even more. Let's get back out there and hoover up more of the plants. I could also go for one of them being like a cattail. So I'll go back to that cattail lake and grab some. Lakua, thank you for the resub. What's important here, and I had mentioned this, I believe, last stream, is that you periodically check your traps. Because animals don't live very long trapped in a box. And you'll end up just with a box of rot or a dead animal that cannot be relocated if you don't tend to them carefully. The other thing is, animals do require... Well, some animals do require a steady supply of food. So, that was weird. So, like a... Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't even show what they eat here. I mean, I know what they eat, but I thought it would show. Weird. When you look at a trough, you can see what is appropriate feed for individual animals. So what I was going to say is some animals will just eat hay. With that in mind, that doesn't necessarily fatten them up all that well, but they will subsist on hay, which you can easily acquire in anywhere grassy with a scythe, which does make feeding hay-eaten animals a little easier. But other animals don't eat hay. And they require, honestly, a somewhat significant amount of agriculture in order to sustain. Because if you have, let's say, pigs, and you don't have good pig feed, you're just going to have a lot of starving pigs. They're not really going to provide you any leather or meat better than what you could just get hunting. Because you're starving them to death. And flax provides very low nutrients for the player. So that's generally the go-to for animal feed in Vintage Story. It's not to say that it has to be exclusive. I could feed them spelt or rice or rye or, you know, what amaranth. It doesn't, they don't care, but flax is a lot less valuable to the player as a grain because of its low satiety. Speaking of pigs, man, these pigs could not care any less about me, could they? So I need 24 cattails per trap, per chest. So I have a papyrus one and a reed one. And I'm going to stop picking up reeds to go back to papyrus. Because I think there's just a lot more papyrus around. How goes surviving today? You know, no complaints. I'm fed. I'm soaking wet, but I'm fed. I haven't been nibbled by wild boar that I've been around. So it could be worse. The terrain here is pretty crumbly. Well, we're getting towards daybreak. Oh, this is saltwater, isn't it? No, maybe not. That's weird. No, not saltwater. Just doesn't have any plant. Oh, it has the wrong ground texture for saltwater anyway. Now I think about it. Here we go. And soon I'm going to have to turn back for some extra meals. I brought some pies out, but I'm running low. I'm the Boar Harbor Butcher. Yes. Just give me an ice pick and I'll get a new nickname. I don't think I've spent a lot of time up in these hills here, mostly because they're hills and hills suck to climb when you don't have armor in Vegestory. Why? Because I should probably specify why. Is because you can very, very quickly find yourself face to face with some strong animal when you're climbing up and down hills, because you have poor visibility at times, and it's a very quick way to get like trapped in terrain and get gored to death or bitten to death or something like that. It happens a lot. Hello, more chickens. Yeah, just in case I kind of exhaust the chickens that I marked down prior, I could always set up traps here. Personal preference, I do not like setting up traps far away from home, because like I will never remember to check them enough to not get the animals dead. But in a pinch, they'll do. Because there's other things that can kill animals too, obviously. One of the biggest that I find killing animals would be predators, and then if it's not predators, it could be caves. Because animals will despawn if they lack sunlight. Which is probably a mechanic to keep, like, starving animals from overpopulating, like, deep caves. I mean, to me it makes sense, right? Like, it doesn't really make sense to have, caves full of, like, random animals. So, I get it. I didn't know Kapok tree. Oh man, this one's huge. I didn't know Kapok trees got 2x2s. I think this is the first 2x2 I've ever seen of a Kapok. It's good to know that they can get huge. Now, once and there's a few of them that are huge. Once a tree is like not. Trees don't grow beyond their like initial growth phase. So it's not like leaving the smaller Kapoks that I live near so they can get bigger is ever going to work. Is this the... Yeah, this is like the dwarf cave. I remember here, because we were considering potentially living here at some point. I'm very glad we didn't, because it would have been really inconvenient to travel in and out of this alcove as like a daily commute. Even it'd be cool. You didn't know Kapoks could grow mushrooms? Yeah, that was neat. Speaking of mushrooms, I am like straight up starving, so I should head back for some food. It would probably help if I didn't have a lantern needlessly in my offhand. Offhand items, or items held in the offhand, cause you to get more hungry. Okay, we got there 4, and I have 9 papyrus left over. Nice. Oh, is that, what kind of snake is that? It looks like a, is that a chain viper or a rat? Nah, it's just a rat snake. Good. Not one that's gonna destroy me. I wouldn't say I'm, like, afraid of snakes. But... oh, now I'm getting the grumbles. I definitely don't like venomous ones. What about Toolsmith? If it's not a mod in my mod list for this series, I've never used it. This is the first time I've ever used mods for Vintage Story. So I have 0 input on mods that aren't already in my list. 0 thoughts on them, I should say. I know I could just eat the raw, mushrooms. But I'll get more bang for my buck if I bother to cook them. That's another thing I ought to be doing, is anytime I find plants, just harvest them. So I can keep building up my seeds. So if anytime I expand the farm, I don't have to go hunting for, foraging for seeds, because... if I just... I'm always doing it, I'll have a good supply. Home sweet home. Alright, I think I need to cook something, because we're out of, maybe we're not out. Did I have more pie left? No? Okay. Yeah, it seems like I need to cook something. I'm not gonna bother making the offal, because I have a lot of other food. Well, maybe. Oh, I think it just rotted, though. I think the pile of rot I just pulled out of the jar was the offal. So, it's not possible to do that. We have 9. Guess I'll do like a red meat and mushroom stew. Oh, that's in the wrong slot. Red meat and mushroom stew. That'll work. Alright, my seeds were in this box. Yeah, I really don't have a lot of seeds, do I? Well, we can always work on that. So getting some food going, and then, we can get some traps. Oh, they're in the wrong ratios. Yep. There we go. I mean, I get that, like, Vintage Story needs, like, I don't know, a mechanic to have, like, correct ratios of things, but I do find it a little funny that, like, if it's the wrong ratio, it just doesn't work. And I know I don't have enough firewood in there, too. Just trying to get more well water. Alright. Oh god, it's slow. I always forget how slow you are holding buckets. I think it's a nice mechanic. That way you can't like move massive amounts of water easily. But I feel like they overdid it with how slow you are. So with these traps, let's grab the flax we got. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll be trapping the... We'll be baiting them with flax. After I do a little bit of eating, the other thing I would like to do is to figure out exactly where we might set up the chicken coop. Keep it in mind, of course, it can't be too close to where I live. And the reason for that is I don't want to panic the chickens into the point where they don't lay eggs anymore. Because if you're too close to them, you creep them out. Oh no, I do have an offal. It's just barreled, and we're waiting on it. I should move the offal barrel in my kitchen. Next. Does the cellar door need to be open or closed? I don't know. I've heard it both ways. That was pretty filling. Wood. Alright, so, chicken coop zoning. As I said, it shouldn't be anywhere too close to where I live. We can always have 2 chicken coops. One for the chickens that are, domesticated, and one for the wild chickens. So option number 1 would just be, like over near this southern pond. So let me type this up. Option number 2 would be near the salt barrels. To the west, near the ocean. And option number 3 would be the flat area to the north of the pond. I don't think east makes sense. One of the advantages I have is because this is kind of a peninsula, it's not likely that I'm going to have a lot of like other animals roaming around here because I'm very much kind of alone on this peninsula. So I don't have to worry about, you know, foxes in the hen house, so to speak. The other thing I'm going to temporarily do is to fence up my my windows so that they're solid. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, because these are slabs, yeah. Eventually, we'll get like leaded windows or something, I don't know. But now, when we're in here, there's nothing that can come in and out. So it's a little bit more secure. I mean, I do think it needs like a hearth and storage and chests and displays and a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, that's the coming time. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Seraphs.